Hello there, this is me Ansh Pandey and you're watching One India English. Over the last 2 years, the bond between Ukraine and the United States has emerged as a steadfast alliance, particularly amid the ongoing Ukraine war. The US has consistently offered extensive support to Ukraine, providing assistance in various forms ranging from drones and tanks to even ammunition and even some financial aid to the Ukrainian administration. The US President Joe Biden has often reiterated the American commitment to stand beside Ukraine, affirming unwavering support to President Zelensky and his effort to defeat the Russian aggression. Since the onset of the war back in February 2022, the United States has been a primary source of aid and support for Ukraine, amounting to approximately 73.2 billion euros. That makes up to approximately $77 billion, and probably the figure is even more if we talk about some unofficial data here. Additionally, the US has successfully rallied other NATO allies too to contribute to Ukraine's effort in countering the Russian aggression. We are talking about the European Union here. But despite these efforts, Russia's influence in eastern Ukraine has actually intensified with significant territorial losses for Ukraine, including the annexation of approximately 30% of the territory of Ukraine, and it has also captured the cities like Avdiivka, Kupiansk and Bakhmut by the Russian forces. No doubt the Wagner has played a very large role here. Nevertheless, the United States remains steadfast in its commitment to supply weapons to Ukraine despite challenges such as the congressional infighting and Ukraine's constant defeat even after launching a counter-strike. However, this ongoing commitment from America to support Ukraine may encounter a very big obstacle, especially with a potential change in presidential leadership in 2024. A report from America's leading newspaper and news portal, The Washington Post, has raised serious concerns regarding the Ukraine war. According to the report, the former president, Donald Trump, has allegedly proposed ending the war in Ukraine by pressuring Ukraine to cede some territory to Russia, including Crimea and the Donbas border region. Donald Trump, aged 77, had previously claimed that he can negotiate a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine within the 24 hours if he gets re-elected. However, he has never publicly outlined his strategy to swiftly resolve this particular war. As per the report, privately, Trump believes that both Russia and Ukraine are now seeking a face-saving solution and an exit strategy too. There are indications that some part of Ukraine might be receptive to join Russia, and so Trump is probably planning to persuade Zelensky to cede some territory to Russia if he wants to. The prospect of such proposal could potentially impact the ongoing support and aid provided by the US to Ukraine, adding complexity to the situation amid the evolving geopolitical dynamics of the region. Amid the speculations surrounding Trump's potential candidacy for the 2024 presidential election, this vital report is now suggesting that he might propose ceding some territory to Russia to end the Ukraine war. However, these claims were swiftly refuted by the Trump team. Donald Trump's team has dismissed the Washington Post's report, labeling it as quote-unquote fake news. Trump's campaign advisor Jason Miller asserted that Trump will not finalize any peace plan until assuming office to thoroughly evaluate all options that are available on the table to end this specific war. Jason Miller, the advisor, criticized media's portrayal of Trump's stance, contrasting it with President Biden's approach. Miller also emphasized that Trump is focused on halting violence, and it contrasts with Biden's purported emphasis on military action. These developments underscores the contentious nature of the US foreign policy, particularly regarding the Ukraine war, and highlights the potential impact of Trump's candidacy on the diplomatic relations if he were to seek a re-election. So at this point, it is pretty obvious that the report from the leading American paper is not at all true. However, make no mistake, Ukraine appears to be actually worried about a return of Donald Trump in the White House. President Zelensky a few days ago issued a stark warning to US President Donald Trump, expressing incredulity at the prospect of Trump aligning with Russia over Ukraine. In an interview, Zelensky emphasized his bewilderment, stating that Trump cannot understand what he is doing. How can Trump support the Russian President Vladimir Putin? These were the words of Vladimir Zelensky. Trump's reluctance to declare his stance on the war has fueled uncertainty despite the claims of being able to swiftly resolve the war if re-elected. Zelensky also extended an invitation to Donald Trump to visit Ukraine, offering an opportunity to grasp the reality and complexity of the situation firsthand before commenting on the matter. As Trump emerges as the political and the most likely Republican presidential nominee, Zelensky's comment highlights the apprehension regarding the impact of US foreign policy decision on the ongoing conflict. Trump has frequently criticized Biden's support for Ukraine in the ongoing war. He has advocated of giving Ukraine loan instead of financial aid money. Even Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, a very known supporter of Donald Trump, had echoed these sentiments, suggesting that Trump wouldn't fund even a single penny to Ukraine if he gets re-elected, potentially hastening to an end to the Ukraine war. Viktor Orban is a Hungarian nationalist leader and a Trump ally, and so he also made these remarks after meeting Trump in Florida. Not only this, even Trump loyalists in the House Congress are creating hurdles for additional financial support for Ukraine. Trump had once stated, and we quote again, that he will end the Ukraine war within the 24 hours. How? Well, in his own words, he had stated that he will visit Ukraine first to pick Zelensky and then to visit Russia to negotiate a peace deal so that the unwanted suffering on both sides, Russia and Ukraine, can end as soon as possible. Even the EU leaders, the part of the NATO bloc, are increasingly concerned about that a second Trump presidency will see a significant reduction in the US military and financial aid to Ukraine and also the NATO military alliance. And why not? Trump's stance contrasts with the traditional US support for Ukraine, raising concerns about the future of the US involvement in the war. His statements indicate a shift in diplomatic approaches, reflecting skepticism about the effectiveness of the aid and emphasizing financial consideration in foreign policy. Even before 2022, Zelensky had largely remained diplomatic with Donald Trump. It also included a very specific scandal in which Zelensky had also denied some claims made by Trump during the 2020 presidential election. And so Zelensky has now started showing signs of worry for the existing US-Ukraine relationship. As Trump emerges as the potential candidate for the presidency, his views on international affairs, particularly regarding the Ukraine, are drawing attention, prompting debates around the implication for global security and stability. And so, we end this analysis on one big question: will the Ukraine policy see a massive shift? Well, for that, we all have to wait till 5th of November 2024 when America will elect its 47th president.